applauding at the NBA game. When I see these young people, it tells me we've still got it. And not only do we have it, which is important enough, we admire it. So we know we're missing something.
So how do you galvanize it? I mean, and let me just add a little further addenda to that question. Is there anything in China on this question which is of relevance? I mean, I mean, Americans are patriotic and even nationalistic, and yet there's something about the nationalism in China that can be very frightening.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
But it also can be very galvanic.
That's right. And it's how do you control it? And obviously the government there deals with that, especially at times of crises, you know, where it does get out of control. We saw it in the Japan crisis a couple months ago. Yeah, I don't know. What the book we're writing about is rediscovering America, not discovering China.
But you want to scare people, and if I read you right, Tom, and I think I have a little of this too,
please, yeah.
You use China
yes.
to do that.
Yeah,
it's like, watch out, or the boogeyman will get you.
Yeah, absolutely. And my Chinese friends always say to me, Tom, you exaggerate us. Mm-hmm. To which I say, guilty as charged, Your Honor. You bet I do, baby. You're my Sputnik. And my problem is a lot of my countrymen think you're a shooting star, mm-hmm. not Sputnik.
What do you think?
Well, what I say back to them, Orville, is, you know what, you're right, I do exaggerate you, and you know what? You exaggerate us. You still think we're Winston Churchill's America, the America that Churchill spoke about that will always do the right thing after it exhausts all the other possibilities? I'm not sure anymore that we can or will do all the right things after we exhaust all the possibilities. We've just spent a decade pretty much exhausting all the alternatives. And I still don't see the sign of us coming together to do the big, hard things we need to do, which at this stage are so big and hard, they can only be done collectively. You know? And so, you know, I confess, I really am not, you know, what I am urging people is not to study the Beijing consensus, mm-hmm. but actually study Lincoln, that all the answers are in our own history. We didn't get here by accident, and a country doesn't thrive over 230, 40 years by accident without having a pretty successful formula. So I think what we've gotten away from is not the Beijing consensus, but the American consensus. And yeah, that's why people, whenever Michael and I tell them the title of our book, That Used to Be Us, by the way, which comes from a speech of Barack Obama on the day he lost the midterm, or day after he gave a speech in which he said, China's building high-speed rail. China now has the world's fastest supercomputer. That used to be us. And so, you know, people say, your book, I mean, does it have a happy ending? And to which we say, well, we can write a happy ending. What we can't tell you, though, is whether it'll be fiction or nonfiction. That will depend on us. And so my view is really it's all about us. It's what we do, the politics we tolerate, you know, the kind of media we tolerate. And if we don't change, then we're headed for a sudden stop at the end.
Well, the media is a kind of a very important piece of this puzzle, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because it's how people learn when they leave school
That's
or
right.
university. And again, you know, I've been very critical of China over
Absolutely.
my life. But when I watch Chinese television, you know, the 9 channels of CCTV, yes, it's censored. There are many things on it that are very stilted and confined, and yet there are 9 channels where you will get a half an hour long or an hour long discussion of intelligent talk.
Absolutely.
Or you'll get a concert.
Yeah.
When the shootings happened in Arizona this weekend, I went to every one of the networks, nothing. And most of the cable channels had